Well, good morning, everyone. This is Michael Douville coming to you from beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. It's May 26th, 2020. Tatum and I are here in the studio, and we're going to be very, very conscious of your time. It's probably going to be about 25 minutes for the interview today. Tatum will make copies of the presentation available for virtually anyone. You can get the slides, you can get the PDF, and this will be up on YouTube later today. If you look on your webinar site, you're going to see a spot for questions. You're welcome to type into any questions, and we hopefully have time to get that done, depending on how many questions we have, and Tatum will monitor that. So I just want to start going. This is a Creating Wealth seminar. And I want to start talking today. We're going to talk about leverage and getting rich. This is a very, very favorite topic. So if you're going to get rich, you almost necessarily need to have leverage. So investment debt is absolutely wonderful. However, too much investment debt can be trouble for you. So we just want to review a few things. We're going to talk about the trends we have here, and we're going to go over some very boring calculations, but the calculations are absolutely necessary for our work. So here in Arizona, the trend is your friend. We have three long-term trends that are going on in Arizona. We have had the baby boomers moving to Arizona for 40 years. So what you want to do is get in front of one of these trends so that you have growth. So we have three trends. We've got the baby boomers retiring, and they're obviously leaving the cold north and moving to the south. It's called the Rust Belt to the Sun Belt. And of course, that's been going on for 40 years. There is an enormous amount of baby boomers that are moving. 10,000 baby boomers every single day retire. And they're moving to Florida, and they're moving to Texas, and they're moving here to Arizona. So we have that trend. California is just in enormous trouble. They're overtaxed, overregulated. They've got lots of social problems, and they are voting with their feet, and they are leaving. And these aren't just workers, which we love to have, skilled workers coming. We also have entrepreneurs and business owners. The tax base of California is leaving and coming to Arizona, which is a very business-friendly environment. And for the second time in 4 years, we've had oil patch problems, and Texas has got an oil bust. Now, Texas has enjoyed revenues from the oil for years and years. They get $15 to $20 billion. It has been suppressing their taxes because they have this oil revenue. And of course, that is going away. And over 1 million oil workers are going to be laid off. For the second time in 4 years, a lot of them are going to leave Texas and come to Arizona. And of course, those people that were thinking maybe I'd go to Texas instead of Arizona are now starting to think that we're going to go to Arizona because Texas is not as friendly as it used to be. So here in Maricopa County, if you realize that I just recently upgraded Maricopa County to neutral. Now you realize that since March 2018, real estate has been in a slight correction. And we just upgraded that on our charts. So here in Maricopa County, we're getting a tremendous amount of these people moving. So literally every 6 minutes, someone moves into Maricopa County. Now, contrast that to somewhere like Chicago that loses 62 jobs a day. Maricopa County is getting someone move here every 7 minutes. Someone comes here, and we're looking at 100,000 net new residents. So that is really quite a trend. Now, we've been talking about the fact of moving wealth to income. I've been very, very conservative because the market has been declining just a little bit across the country. We here in Maricopa County really haven't noticed that because our market has just been wonderful. I mean, last year we appreciated almost 6%, but places like Seattle, they dropped 13%. So we don't necessarily see that. So we have been very, very conservative. And of course, I deal with baby boomers. We've been converting the baby boomers' wealth to income and been very, very conservative, very, very risk averse. and we've been income weighted on our investments rather than growth weighted. But the markets are soon going to change. I understand that we have this recession going on. I understand it's going to be a little scary, but it's going to change. I've been very, very conservative, as you know. If you've been coming to my seminars, you know I've been very, very concerned about what's going on. But we're coming through it. We're going to end this. I can see it on my charts, and we're going to just get better. Now, this is the boring part of the presentation, so I have to tell you, you need to master this form. This is return on cash. This is going to tell you how much income you have to work with. And this form is available to you if you just email me or email Tatum. Will be more than happy to get copies for you. But there's some basic assumptions that we're making on here, and it's going to help you do your decision making whether or not you want to purchase a property. So just because you can buy a property doesn't mean that you should buy the property. So in this example, now this is one I pulled out last week from the MLS. I mean, literally just the day before the presentation. So these are readily available. I'm looking at 5 or 6 or 7 right now for my group that we're making a decision on. So let me just go through this form. I know it's boring. So this is based on a cash transaction of purchasing for $285,000. Now on cash, you have very little closing costs. So typically $1,000 is going to be more than ample to close a transaction. Even in the cleanest properties, we want to standardize. We certainly want to clean the carpets. We want to clean the house. Probably going to paint, and we're going to standardize the paint color so all our rentals have the same color. We might have to put some window treatments in. Typically, it's about $3,500. Now, these properties can change, so we go in and we do an estimate on there. That's why you hire us, is to go in and do these estimates. So on this particular projection, we're talking our total cash transaction is going to be $288,500. That's a very important figure, so we need to make sure we understand that. Now, in the form, it's just fill in the blanks. This is so easy. You know what the HOA is. You know what the taxes are. You can call your insurance agent and get what the homeowner insurance or your landlord policy is going to be. I've also put miscellaneous. That is for if you have pool service, if you're including a landscape service, if you have a furnished rental and you want to put a cleaning service in there, that's where that would go. Vacancy factor, again, in a market like today, we're generating huge amount of interest on our rentals. We're getting 4 or 5 applications at a time. So the vacancy factor is very, very limited in this particular market. I'm probably calculating this. So I put half a month's rent, and of course, our average tenant stays for 3 years, oftentimes 5, oftentimes 10, because we're looking in a market, my particular market. Now, you can choose whatever market you want, but we're very conservative. We have found over the years that if we get a 3-bedroom or a 4-bedroom home, 2 baths, 2-car garage with a backyard, our tenants will put down roots, and this will become their home, and they stay there a very, very long time. So our average tenant is at least 3 years, so we divide the vacancy factor by 3 years. Repair escrow is the same. Again, each property is going to be just a little bit different depending on age. You know, if it's 15, 16, 17 years old, well, everything starts to wear out then, and there's that time frame where you need to replace things. But typically, if you can figure right around about $1 a foot per year, that should be ample. So repair escrow on this particular example is $1,500. Leasing fee, about the same as the vacancy today. So about half a month's rent, good for 3 years. So that gives us a figure of $267. And I'm going to recommend management to you. Even if you're in my business, you're in my company, let them do what they're paid to do. These guys are so much better than we are. Let them interact with the tenant. It is a tax deductible item, and we just factor it in. So our typical cost is going to run between $5,500 and $7,500 per property. This particular unit is talking about almost $6,400. So here's where people get in trouble, and this is where we've had questions, is the fact that we're making some assumptions on here. Now, you need to be a professional on this. Now, we can make this assumption, and we're generally very, very good. But until you get a tenant in the property, you don't absolutely positively know what that property is going to rent for. We make some basic assumptions. I prefer to be on a conservative side and get surprised on the upside. Now, I looked at this property. I thought it was going to rent between $1,600 and $1,700, and I did the calculations for that. If you do the calculations thinking, oh no, I'm going to get $2,000 a month for this, and you find out you're only going to get $1,650, you are going to be in trouble. So you really need to make sure that you understand exactly what your rent revenue is going to be. Now, this is telling us what we have for net cash flow for income. If you're a baby boomer and we're paying cash for this, this is what you get to spend. Or if you're starting to grow your business and grow your investments rather than income weighted, we're growth weighted, this will tell you how much debt service that you can have. Now, keep in mind, this is each one of you is individual. I'm always available if you want to sit down and run some numbers by me. I'm more than happy to talk to you about this. We never, ever want to take too much debt to jeopardize the asset itself. So let's be conservative on this and decide what kind of debt we're going to have. So these properties are going to forever give you a cash flow and an income for your debt service. Now, I'm very, very cautious when there is risk in the market, and there has been risk in the market for the last 2 years. And obviously, we've been vindicated because look what we have right now. However, we're going to come through that, and then the risk is going to start being mitigated, and we're going to start wanting to think that we're going to want to put some more leverage on. So let me just go through this one more time. I've been in business for 45 years. I've seen 4 or 5 of these. Most of the time, the mistake I made was I didn't buy enough when the properties were on sale. But debt is a two-edged sword. It allows you to buy properties, but keep in mind, if you over leverage, you can get yourself in trouble. And if you just think back to our bubble days of 2008 and 2009, it was not the properties that got you in trouble. It was the debt on the properties that got you in trouble. So let's not make that mistake. I am available to run these numbers by. You're welcome to get these forms so we know exactly what it is that you're doing. But long-term market forces are available here in Phoenix, Arizona, unlike other parts of the country. I mean, if you're in Illinois or in the Midwest, you are not enjoying this type of market forces. And when you're in a leverage, you can get properties and you can make long-term assumptions on these properties. And you can take advantage of this long-term trend and you can make a fortune, literally a fortune. You can change your life. You can make enough money to never, ever have to work again in your life and go do something that's truly, truly fun, like doing webinars. So we talked about a couple of success stories in the last couple chapters. So you remember Major Steve, that at 39 years old, he was financially free without having to worry about anything in his life again. And we talked about my friend Jimmy, who was completely debt-free in his 40s. His house was paid off. All of his rentals were paid off. His cars were paid off. His credit cards were paid off, completely free. He did never, ever have to go back to work again in his life. And of course, now Jimmy has all the time in the world he wants, and he now has time to save the world if he wants to, or he can ride his motorcycle whenever he wants. So let's talk about getting rich. Let's talk about leverage. So each one of you will have a different ability to leverage. So I want to make this perfectly clear that we don't want to over leverage where we're concerned about getting the rent in. So we need to make sure that you have enough cash flow coming in and you do not over leverage. We never want to jeopardize your home. We never want to jeopardize your family. You never want to jeopardize the asset itself. But other people's money, opium, you've heard of opium. All around the world, everybody's talking about opium. It's other people's money. It allows you to control much more properties, and it is incredibly good strategy when we're talking about a really, really high growth marketplace or an inflationary marketplace. Now, I'm going to tell you, if you look at my timing chart has been pretty accurate on this. It's certainly predicted this downturn because keep in mind we've had 7 of the last 8 quarters. Real estate around the United States has been down. It's now saying that when we finish this problem, this little rough patch that we're going through, things are going to get a lot better, and we might want to start controlling some properties. We might take a little more risk, even me with my baby boomers. So leverage can just supercharge your investment. So now when you leverage, keep in mind that when you're leveraging, you're using some of your cash flow to offset your debt service. So that free cash flow gets diminished by the amount of debt service that you're using. So like baby boomers, if your life is dependent on the cash flow coming in, we don't always have that luxury to do that. But if you're in a growth phase, which a lot of my investors are, we're in their 30s and 40s, particularly if you're in your 30s and you've got your career is in front of you, we can really supercharge your investment returns by sacrificing some of the cash flow and leveraging your properties. And keep in mind, cash flow is only one of the 5 components in real estate that you make investment returns on. One of 5. And of course, we're going to grow that cash flow. So after 3 or 4 years, that cash flow then becomes significant again. So this is only a temporary fix, and each one of you can make this decision. I'm going to tell you, I'm available here. We have people here that can help you with that. So let us know. But let's just think this through. Metro Phoenix for the last 35 years has been growing. Now, if you take the 35 years, now we've had some really, really good years in the last 3 or 4 years, so we're not going to use those. But if we take the whole 35 years, Phoenix has grown just shy of 4% a year for 35 years. What an enormous growth market. How can you not be doing this? So if you have a 20%, keep in mind we're leveraging. If you just put 20% down and let a long-term trend work for you at 3.98%, which is what we're appreciating, that translates into 19.9% capital gain each and every year. You put 20% down and the market gives you almost 20% back. How can you not be doing this? And that's only one component. You still have a little bit of cash flow coming in. And when we leverage, we can do these long-term strategies. So if you're in your 20s, we'd love to get you doing this in your 20s or in your 30s, and you allow a long-term strategy. Just let the market forces work for you. And a 10 and 30-year strategy in a market like Phoenix, Arizona, Maricopa, Arizona, you're going to see your properties just grow like mad. And who pays off those mortgages? Your tenant does. So once you make the down payment, you never have to use any of your own money because we've already put the repair escrow, all the costs are already into your calculations. You should never, ever have to make another capital improvement on here. And of course, we have principal reduction strategies. So rather than waiting 30 years, we can get this done in 15, 16, 17 years. Just think if you had 10 or 15 properties free and clear in 15 years, and that opportunity is staring you in the face. So what's not to like about this? How can you not do this? So let's say we buy a property for $300,000. We put 20% down. So you have got $60,000. I'm going to tell you, great retirement tool. So if you're a retiree and you've got $300,000 and every month you have less and less and less, doesn't happen when you're buying real estate. Each month you get more and more and more. So if you put $60,000 down at the end of 30 years, unlike the Bengen rule where you're out of money, at the end of 30 years, you've got someone has gone from $60,000 to $300,000. $60,000 to $300,000, it's gone up 4 times. Someone else has paid that off for you. That's without saying there's been any kind of growth We're not talking about the cash that you've received, just in the investment itself. How can you not do that? Thank you very much. And you know what I say? Ka-ching. So here's another one for you. Just negotiate a 3% discount. If you're sitting waiting around, I'm going to get it for 20 or 30% down. Good luck to you. We're in a really, really strong market. That could happen, but I'm going to tell you, if you're putting 20% down and just get a 3% discount, just a simple 3% discount, putting 20% down, the day you close, you made a 15% capital gain the day you closed. Ka-ching! Let's do it over and over and over again. But now, keep in mind, we have timing models here. And I have a timing model, and I'm going to tell you we're not quite there. There is some caution in the marketplace. We've been talking about this since 2018 and before. Now, the 2008, 2009 recession, the GDP went down a negative 4%. In 2020, we're already 3 times what that was in 2008 and 2009. We're at a negative 13%. We've lost 38.4 million jobs. 38.4 million jobs. I think we're going to be surpassing the Great Depression. So this is pretty significant. So it's going to be nasty. It's going to be across the board. There's going to be restaurants and retail that are never coming back. Some of these jobs are never coming back, but we will recover. Keep in mind, the mistake I made was I did not buy enough when the timing was right. Now, it's not quite yet. So this is part of the models that I'm using. We're still in recession. It's still getting worse. We haven't bottomed yet, but I think this is going to be a reasonably short recession. I could be wrong, but I think we're starting to recover. The economy is opening up. And I'm going to tell you, this is just an aside, is that I heard that there's people who want to sell their vacation rentals. Get me out, get me out. Well, let me tell you that the states that have opened up, Georgia and Florida, I'm hearing anecdotally that their vacation rental bookings are 90% over last year. 90% over last year. So this could very well be a temporary. If you want to get out of those rentals and you want to sell them to somebody, give me a call, because I think we probably would want to buy them. So I'm anticipating that we start recovery around the fourth quarter. So I'm thinking maybe October 1st, maybe start November, we start getting better. That does not mean that we're recovered. We probably will take a couple years to get going. And I think that will be some trouble in the meantime. But I think this is going to breed opportunities for us. Now, that's my timing model. I want to talk about my timing model. I also want to talk about the fact, I'm just going to give you another aside, is that the US dollar is probably going to peak. Now, I talked about this on the webinar on Saturday, the podcast we do. But you know, I'm a cycle guy. And so assets cycle up and down. And of course, when we have turmoil in the world, everybody goes to the US dollar, and it just compounds the problem. Everybody goes into the US dollar. It makes the dollar really, really strong. And of course, the emerging markets across the world, they really, really struggle. So we've had some really, really strong dollars. We went up to 102 plus. We might get up to 103, but we're probably going to top here. So when it starts to top and it starts to go down, then you're going to start seeing prices start going up around the world. You're going to see copper go up. You're going to see iron ore go up. You're going to see lumber go up. You're going to see oil go up. You're going to see coal go up. You're going to see aluminum go up. And what do we make out of all those items? We make houses out of all those things, and you're going to see houses start to go up. That is called inflation. I don't think we're going to have that for a little while, but it's coming. So here is my timing model. It's a very, very simplified one. And it's showing where we're at. I think recovery starts on that second downturn. So this is going to be a double correction. Keep in mind, it is a correction in an ongoing bull market. It is not the crash. We are way too early into the cycle for us to have a crash. So I'm looking for us to start recovering fourth quarter. It's going to be slow for a couple years, and then we're going to start booming 22, 23, 24. And I think we're going to be topping right around the 24. We'll take a look at the market at that time and reassess where we're at. So you have about 4 years to make a fortune. If you've missed this thing in your portfolio, you can get this now. This is an absolutely outstanding time for you to do this. I'm giving you tools so that you can do this smart and you can make your decisions for yourself, but the timing is coming. Timing's not quite here quite yet. We're still watching what's going on in the marketplace, but it is coming. It is coming very, very soon. If you talk to us, and you're welcome to call us, we'll put our phone numbers and our uh, emails so that you can contact us, and we'll review your circumstances, and we'll start talking about our timing model. So I just want to leave you with this. I've been rich and I have been poor. I like rich a whole lot more. So we're going to be having a workshop coming very, very soon. We're working on that now. We can have, I think, 10 people at a workshop. That's really not enough to do a workshop. We want to do a whole lot more, but that's coming very, very soon. If you have any kind of interest in doing the workshop, it's going to be all day. We'll have my book. We'll have the workbook as well. There'll be lunch. Just email to me, email to Tatum. You can email to Michael at michaeldouville.com. Keep in mind, I'm here in the offices in Scottsdale. You are welcome to talk to me if you want to brainstorm with me. If you've got some ideas, you want to talk to somebody. I make myself very, very available to you. It's part of your deal. You're welcome to call me. It's very private, very confidential. I don't even tell anybody. So this is all good. So if you want to do it, first one is free. Quite honestly, we don't really do more than one. You guys are pretty smart. So most of you figured this out right off the get-go. So the first one is free. It's generally free to you, including my Scottsdale office for you. You're welcome to call me at 480-948-5554. And we're trying to make sure that this webinar is of value to you. So I'm very interested in getting your comments, your thoughts, any questions that you have. You're welcome to email me to Michael at michaeldouville.com. I also get a lot of questions, and they want to get my mindset. You're welcome to buy my book. It's not a terribly expensive investment. It's $15. It's available at Amazon, Apple, really any place that sells a book's got my book. You can even call me. We'll get this for you. We also have it in email if you want to, or an ebook. So if you just want to read it like on your Kindle, we can do that. But you'll get these concepts maybe just a little easier. It's a pretty easy read. It's maybe an hour, hour and a half. It's not a big one. So I'm going to wish you the very best. Are there any questions, Tim? So no questions today. Again, I'm available to you. So my very best to you, and call me if you need me. Bye-bye now.